If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that over the last several years, we have learned with absolute certainty that the spaces that you design shape how people live, not just interact in their space, but live in their bodies, their minds, their hearts, their soul, right? And the future of design is so much more than simply the aesthetics. And that's why I want to tell you about the Design Hounds Living Well Retreat. It's happening this February 19th through 22nd in Sarasota, Florida. That's 2026. This is not a trend workshop. It's not a quick getaway, although it kind of is, right? But what it really is a thoughtful, forward-looking retreat for designers who want to explore wellness, longevity, technology, and how the homes you design will and do support the people who live them over time, over decades, right? It's also time for you during this weekend to slow down, to think clearly, to reconnect with why you choose to do this work in the first place. This retreat immediately chases KBIS. So I'm going to be in Florida for KBIS, and then I am going to get on this Design Hounds bus in Orlando and make my way down to Sarasota with the Design Hounds group. So if you also know the future of our industry is about designing with intention and impact, this retreat is worth your attention. You can reserve your seat by going to designhounds.com/event. All right. That's designhounds.com/event. The link will also be in the show notes. And when you check out, use the code DH20 to get 20% off the ticket, right? Excellence is a decision, and so is how you choose to invest your time and money. I hope to see you in Florida. Welcome to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. As we come to the end of this year, if you're listening real time, it's the end of 2025, but this will hold up in the future, I'm certain of it. I want to slow down a moment and talk directly to you. This episode today isn't about goals. It isn't about resolutions, and it's definitely not about putting more on your plate. It is about perspective. Because before you decide what you're going to carry into the new year, there's one thing that you must do first. You need to understand what's working in your business, what's not, and why. Not to relive it just for the sake of, and definitely not to judge it, but so that you can make better decisions going forward. That's leadership. That's how CEOs think. And you, my friend, are a CEO. Now, throughout the year, I see business owners from all kinds of angles, right? I interact with business owners through the podcast, 1,100 interviews so far and counting, right? I interact with business owners at live events sitting across the table from me. I interact with business owners through the work that we do at Exciting Windows. I work with them in my Chairman of the Board program. I see them and I work with them in my role as the president of the WCAA. And I see them through the instructors at LuAnn University who are in the trenches teaching what actually works. And when you sit in that many seats, something happens. You stop seeing isolated problems and you get the benefit of seeing patterns that show up again and again across business models. So today I want to talk to you about the things you need to stop doing if you want a business that feels stronger, healthier, and is working for you. All right? And I want to be clear about something. You have permission to stop doing these things, okay? Take it from me right now. I'm giving you permission, right? And then another thing, as you hear them, please don't feel judged. Feel seen, feel heard, feel understood, because every single one of us has been in a version of every single one of these at different points in our business journey. This is simply your signal to recognize the patterns if they're showing up in your business. This is information to help you move forward. So let's start with the first one. Stop confusing being busy with being effective. This one is very sneaky, my friend. This is like, you're just working and reworking the pattern selections on the flat lays and the tile and the paint and the carpet and all the things, right? For window treatment people, it's searching for the perfect fabric, even though you have found a fabric that is absolutely perfect, right? It's tweaking and refining and organizing and getting ready to work. And meanwhile, the real things aren't getting done. The quotes aren't getting out the door. The proposals aren't getting done. The contractors aren't being called. The follow-ups aren't happening. Time is being squandered instead of working on the business. And the catch-22 with this one is busy work often feels creative. It feels productive. It feels safe, and it's fun to do. I know the feeling. I promise you. Okay? The other catch-22, the part of that catch-22 is, the work that we should be doing, the effective work, it's often uncomfortable. It takes more effort. It's the follow-up. It's the numbers. It's the conversation we don't feel like having. Okay? But here's the thing. Your business doesn't grow because you picked the perfect fabric. It grows because you did the follow-up, which leads me right into the second thing to stop doing. Stop delaying decisions that are already clear, right? Now, years ago, Lee Cockrell was here, the Executive Vice President of Worldwide Disney Operations, and I bring him up and this show up all the time. And I'm going to for the end of time, I promise you, because he nailed it when he told us the ultimate money line. Lee said, when you only do the easy things, everything else gets harder. And when you do the hard things, everything else gets easier. Right? So think about that when applying it to stop delaying decisions that are already clear. Because most of the time, you have the clarity, you have the aha, you know the thing to do. That gets there kind of early. But then what we do is we delay the execution. We delay it. We know it needs to be done, but maybe it's uncomfortable. Or we don't know exactly how to do it, but then we don't go get the advice and figure out how to do it. We just don't do it. Okay, that's not thoughtfulness there. That's avoidance. So what I want to say is pay attention when when your inside voice tells you and you still delay execution, right? I've seen this, especially in chairman of the board. I've seen it because that's where I'm with you day to day, week to week. And it's like, it, and then you resist it. We've all been there. We've all done it. So just think for a moment when this has happened. And the thing is that if business is good, right? If the money is coming in and you're delaying taking actions, that's even trickier because it makes you think everything's okay. And that brings me to the third thing to stop doing. Stop letting revenue convince you everything is fine. Money in the checkbook does not mean the business is healthy. It might be. But that's not the barometer. I remember Vinny teaching us this years ago. He said, a smart entrepreneur knows that they cannot run their business from the checkbook balance, right? So is it your money in the checkbook? Well, I guess you got to start with, do you know your cost to be open number? Because if you know your cost to be open number, you can look at that checkbook balance and mentally deduct it out. Do you know how much of that money needs to be allocated for furniture, for invoices with Hunter Douglas? If you do, then you can mentally deduct that out. But if you don't know these things, what your payroll is each week, what your insurances are, what your cost to be open, and you're just looking at the number in the checkbook, you do not have a complete picture of your business. And you cannot let that revenue convince you that everything is fine. Because revenue can hide a lot of problems. It can hide weak systems, poor delegation, unclear roles. right? A healthy business isn't just a business where money is coming in. A healthy business is one where you know exactly where that money belongs and how to make it work for you. Okay. And if you don't understand this differential, if you're like, what the heck is she talking about? Okay. This brings me to number 4. Stop being the smartest, busiest, most indispensable person in the room. Okay? Like there's people out there that know things more than you. And like it's okay, right? I learned this through my cousin Eileen Hahn, who we've talked about a lot. She's come to Power Talk Fridays, all the LuAnn Live. She's been on the show many times, and she is a leadership consultant. And through years and years and years, I promise you, I'm a little hard-headed sometimes. She has drilled into me, when something lands on my plate, my first thought needs to be, who else can do this, right? It took a while, but I promise you, I am now at a 0.0 second reaction now. Who else in my world is capable, equipped, able to do this instead of me? And in my world, bonus points if I determine a person who not only can do it, but they're going to do it better than I can. That's a jackpot, right? But that's not my criteria. The criteria for 80% of the things in a day, week, or month isn't who can do it better than me. It's simply who else can do it, right? And that 20% that needs to be me, yes, that stays with me. But that's 20%, not 80, and definitely not 100, okay? And the thing is, if I don't understand 80% of my finances, then I got to find a person to explain it to me, to work with me, right? To going back to the point above. So I see this constantly with business owners and chairman of the board at Exciting Windows with my peers. We do far more than we need to be doing. Your job is not to do everything. Your job is to focus on the highest value activities that only you can do. Often they're the highest value creative and lead gen. The things that, you know what I call it, the rainmaker. You make rain. Okay? So just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. So stop being the smartest, busiest, most indispensable person in the room. I'm going to tell you what, it feels great. All right, now let's talk about standards. Stop tolerating behavior you wouldn't accept from a stranger, right? So this applies to contractors, trades, clients, people you collaborate. And no, this doesn't mean picking a fight with everyone. It doesn't mean that you're teaching the whole world manners. It just means recognizing patterns. If someone is consistently disrespectful, consistently pushing boundaries, consistently asking for unreasonable things, it's okay to say no. No is a complete sentence, right? No, this is not how this is going to work. No, I'm not going to collaborate any longer. No, this is where I have to draw the line. Okay, plain and simple. Your inside voice here, your inside voice knows the difference between someone having a bad day who needs some grace, okay, and someone who needs to be shown the door permanently. I'm just asking you to act on it. If you need to create boundaries to protect yourself, your creativity, your sanity, your business, you have permission to do it. All right? And I'm just going to repeat it. You do know the difference in your gut and your heart if someone just needs some grace or if they do need the door. Okay? Just listen to your voice. She or he knows. All right? This will bring me to the next one. Stop over-explaining your pricing, your boundaries, and your decisions, right? This can show up when someone asks you what feels like a loaded question, but we load it, right? We mistakenly read too much into it. We assume they're challenging us. We assume they're questioning us. We assume they're questioning our value. So then what happens is we like copy and paste our contract language. We're like, you would justify, we defend. I got to tell you, most of the time, people are not challenging you. They just don't understand. There's a big difference between clarifying and justifying from your point of view. You can explain something. You don't have to justify everything, right? Sometimes all that's needed is a calm explanation. That's not how this works, but here's how it can work. I listen to me. I can't tell you how many people I work on one-on-one. okay, in all shapes and forms. And this happens over and over again. This need to over-explain pricing, boundaries, and decisions. Sometimes just answer the question asked. Don't, fill it up with all the things you think they mean by it, okay? Because it's usually enough. Right? And if you are one of the people who have coached with me, you have definitely had at least one situation during the year when I have urged you to simply answer the question without justification, without explanation, just a polite response. And you know what? Every single one of you has at one point or another been surprised when that client answers back or contractor to hear and see, okay, I was just asking. And meanwhile, we're copy and pasting parts of our contract. And, remember on the third Tuesday, 16 weeks ago, I said this standing in the garage. Stop. Okay? Just be. You have pricing, you have boundaries, and you have made decisions. They're all good. Stop over explaining them. All right? And now this next one, I want to flip it a little bit. Stop building your business without respecting how you work best. Okay? Now, I'm going to say it carefully because I want it to land the right way. Stop trying to force yourself to work the way someone else works or some coach has said for you to work, or how a business book says to work, or how a darn podcast tells you to work, by the way, right? This is where self-awareness becomes true leadership. And I've told you on the show many times, I don't read my own emails. I don't. Right? I skim them. I look at them without opening them. And I definitely only look at the first page. If we get 2 pages, like, how the first page shows you like 8 or 10, if we get 3 pages in a day, I never read past the first, right? And I say it out loud because it took me a long time to realize that it's okay, that I'm not broke. I'm not lazy. I'm not a good business person. Right? Working for years with Amber de la Garza, she taught me this. It was a big lesson. She taught me how to design my business around me, not around the principal or someone else's system. Okay? For years, email was a problem for me. I would open my inbox thinking I'd spend 30 or 40 minutes, and suddenly 3 or 4 hours were gone. Rabbit holes everywhere. Other times, I'd open an email and think, ooh, that one's very big. That's complicated. That's sensitive. I have to take some good time with that. I have to make sure I give a thoughtful response. I better do that later because I only have a half hour now. And then you know what would happen? I would come across that email like 3 weeks later, unanswered, forgotten. That's not good. It took me forever to hear from Amber that nothing was wrong with me. Ask her when you see her next time in real life. I used to say to her, I know I'm just being lazy. I know I'm just not exercising discipline. And she's like, you are the least lazy person I've ever met. Are you kidding me? So the thing was, what she taught me was the system was wrong for me. The process was wrong for me. And we created a process that works for me. Okay? So it's me that comes first, not a process, right? And when we finally did this, finally learned through years of coaching and self-observation to stop fighting that and start designing around it, everything changed. And it took probably 5 or 6 iterations and maybe 2 years because it was like, let's try it this way and let's try it that way. But I have to say, I am so grateful to Amber because each time it didn't work, I felt like a failure again. And she just said, we didn't find it yet, Lou. We didn't find it. And now we found it. And it works great. And I love it. And I still don't read my emails. Yay. Okay? So here's the point. You don't get extra credit for suffering through systems that don't work for you. You just don't. You just don't. You're just spinning your wheels. You're creating agita. It's like having like this big ball and chain around you and you're trying to get through your day, right? But you do need to know a couple things. You need to know where your strengths are. And you need to know where your gaps are. And then you build your business system to leverage your strengths and mitigate your gaps, right? No turning horses into unicorns. Just show your horse how to fly. It's fine, right? So if you're a morning person, your creative energy is early, protect that time. If you're energized by being on job sites in the morning and reflective in the afternoon, that's okay. It's your business. You don't work for anyone else. You have the best boss in the world. You. Tell your boss what would really make you happy, productive, and fulfilled, and then build your blasted business around it. It's awesome. You have to do it, right? Self-awareness is not indulgent. It's strategic, right? Now, that brings me to the next one. Stop consuming information instead of implementing it. I am genuinely, truly grateful that you listen to the podcast, that you read my books, that you take the courses at LuAnn University, and that you have joined Exciting Windows and you do all of these things. But it only matters if you change your behaviors, if you change your process and systems to improve your business, to work for you, right? If you, for example, bought a LuU course last winter and you still have the recordings, but you never did the work because maybe you got a project that happened right when the course started, go back, open them up, do the work. There's no expiration date on getting back to you and your business. Learning is valuable, but only when it's applied. So please honor yourself, your money, and your time, and make sure you put it to use, right? And then on the flip side, sometimes the reason we don't apply a thing is because we said yes to the wrong thing. So that brings us into the next one. Stop saying yes because it's easier to say no. As I said earlier, and I say often, and you've heard me say it, no is a complete sentence. It can be said with kindness and respect, but every unnecessary yes steals time and energy from what actually matters. The shoulds that we put on ourselves are heavy. Show up as your best self. It's enough. You know how to do this one. Sit with it. Figure it out for you. Again, I promise you, your inside voice knows the things that you have to stop saying yes to just because it's easier than saying no. And then finally, stop pretending growth doesn't require change. Honestly, it's a business. It's not a beach with a Mai Tai and a purple umbrella. It's going to be hard. You're going to get knocked down, right? It's okay. We all do. The people, those of us that build sustainable, profitable businesses are not the ones who don't fail. We are the ones who stand back up, right? So please expect to be challenged on the regular. Expect it to be uncomfortable to grow. Expect the lessons to be tough. But also know this. You have a brain and a heart and a passion for what you're doing. You have colleagues and people in your corner. You have resources, podcasts, books, courses, coaches. And that's how I want to leave you today. Not with pressure, not with a checklist, and definitely not with guilt. I want to leave today giving you permission. Permission to stop doing the things that are making your business harder than it needs to be. Permission to stop carrying what no longer belongs to you, supports you, fulfills you, lifts you up. Permission to stop tolerating, explaining, fixing, and rescuing. And permission to advocate for yourself and your business. Because no one is going to do it if you don't do it first. Not your clients, not your vendors, not your team. That's your CEO job, right? So between now and the start of the new year, I don't want you racing ahead. I don't want you setting goals yet. And I don't want you rewriting your entire business/life. I do want you to slow down enough to choose one thing from today's episode. Just one. One thing you're going to stop doing because it's draining you, distracting you, costing you money, time, energy, costing you more than it's giving you back. And then I want you to rest. Rest your brain, rest your nervous system. Rest. It's okay to be tired. You don't have to pretend not to be. We all get tired. It's okay, right? Because rest isn't quitting, right? Rest is preparing. And when you come back, I want you to come back clearer, more grounded, more willing to make the decisions you already know need to be made. This is not about being perfect. This is about being intentional. You chose entrepreneurship. And that means you get to choose how you show up inside of it. And by the way, you already are, whether you're doing it by choice or by default. And that's what I'm trying to get you to move to, by choice. Excellence is a decision. And you don't make it once. You make it again and again and again, all darn day, every darn day. Okay? I believe you're capable of more than you might sometimes give yourself credit for. And I believe your business deserves a CEO who protects it, who leads it, and advocates for it. And that's you. So take a pause, take the lesson, and take care of yourself. I'm sending you big hugs. Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of LuAnn Nigara, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or LuAnn University, go to LuAnnNigara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to WindowWorksNJ.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.